Welcome to another brew day. Today I'm brewing up a British Golden Ale. So if you've never brewed one or never tasted one, the style guide for this, overall impression, hop forward, average strength to moderately strength, pale bitter, drinkability and refreshing quality are critical components of this style. Appearance straw to golden in colour, as the name suggests, good to brilliant clarity, low to moderate white head. Aroma wise, hop aroma is moderately low to moderately high, so quite a wide scope there. Can use a variety of hops, floral, herbal and earthy English hops, and citrusy American hops are most common. Frequently a single hop variety is usually showcased. Little to no malt aroma, no caramel, medium to low fruity aroma from the hops rather than esters, little to no diacetyl. Flavour, medium to medium high bitterness. Hop flavour is moderate to moderately high of any hop variety, although citrus flavours are increasingly common. Blah, blah, blah. Mouthfeel, light to medium body. Comments, well hopped, quenching beer with an emphasis on showcasing hops. Served colder than traditional bitters, this style was originally positioned as a refreshing summer beer, but is now often brewed year round, which I am. It's sort of early spring, but early spring UK style means it's still freezing cold and has been raining a lot. So I'm looking forward to this beer to brighten me up a little bit. So my recipe for this beer is, and this is a 22 litre batch. I'm doing it in my brew bag system. So if you're gonna try and replicate it, obviously scale it up to your brewing system. So my fermentables are 4 kilograms of extra pale Maris Otter. It does recommend the use of low colour base malts for this. So I'm using the Munton's extra pale Maris Otter, 4 kilos. I'm using Cara malt. So this is the crisp Cara. Now that's going to give it the lovely golden orange colour, 300 grams, but without the caramel flavour. So I think you get some kind of toffee notes maybe from it, but I'm only using 300 grams, so I shouldn't get too much of that, only sort of 6% of the grist. You can use up to 15%, I think, so shouldn't get too much of that toffee flavour, just using it really for the colour. I've got 110 grams of wheat malt in there as well, for head retention and body, so that seems to be a common ingredient in the British Golden Ale. Hops wise, so what I have got here is a large bag of Olicana hops. So this is a new, or one of the newer British varieties of hops, which give you more of those kind of American type characteristics. So citrusy, apricotty, sort of floral notes common with this. So I've got 100 grams of whole hops, which I'm going to be using. So this is kind of my showcase hop in this beer. I've not used Olicana before, so it's quite an interesting experiment. Hopefully I'm going to get some of those nice fruity flavours out of it. And yeah, it turns out all right. So that's my main hop. I'm bittering with some Magnum at the start. So apart from the Magnum, this is all British hops. So I've got 6 grams of Magnum going in at 30 minutes, which is going to give me 7 IBUs. So I wanted a nice kind of clean bittering, so that it sort of showcases the hops I am going to be putting in. So I want to make the most of these and put them in kind of more later on in the boil to get a bit more flavour and aroma from them. So Magnum at the start, 30 minutes. I'm only doing a 30-minute boil. So I've got 6 grams Magnum, 30 minutes, and then at the 15-minute mark, I'm going in with 15 grams of Olicana, and I've also got some Progress hops here. So I've got 15 grams of that also going in at 15 minutes. Then at 5 minutes, I'm going in with another 20 grams of Olicana, and yeah, that's it. And then in my hop stand, I've got, I'm doing a 15-minute hop stand, 80 degrees, 30 grams of Olicana, and another 12 grams of Progress. So Progress is a bit kind of like Fuggles. It sort of describes a sweeter version of Fuggles, a bit more rounded and sweeter version of fuggle. So hopefully that plays well together with the Olicana. And then I'm doing a kind of smallish dry hop. On day 9, I'm going to put 35 grams of Olicana in as a dry hop. So that's it. Pretty much these just Progress and Olicana for my hops. Yeast wise, I'm sticking with an English ale yeast, and this happens to be Crossmyloof Midland yeast, which is a Nottingham style yeast. So I wanted to use a typical English ale yeast. Either SO4 I guess would have been an obvious choice for the dried one, or a Nottingham, but I thought I'd try the Nottingham, see how that turned out. So that's pretty much it. As I say, it's a 22 litre batch. It is currently mashing at the moment out there, so once that has finished mashing, I'm not going to bother sparging or anything. I'm just going to let the grains drain, bring up to the boil, and start my hop schedule. So I'm mashing in at 65, and I'm going to be fermenting for 2 weeks, round about 20 degrees. I'm just going to leave it indoors basically, and let it sort of ferment at ambient temperature, which is sort of between 18 and 20 degrees. Stick a heat belt around it, so if it does drop below 18 degrees, it gets still quite cold at night here. We can keep it at sort of a minimum of 18. And that is pretty much it. So the overall beer should be nice and golden. It's Brewfather tells me it should work out about 7 EBC, so a nice light orangey golden colour is what I'm hoping for, and a nice hoppy, fruity hoppy, sunny summer springy beer ready for drinking in the British springtime that is really dragging its heels. But anyway, I'm going to get on, might get some brew footage on the way, and I'll see you at the end for the tasting. Here it is, British Golden Ale. So I've just poured this off the keg. It's not very highly carbonated. It's just been set at 10 psi, set and forget type thing. That's pretty much how I like it, not too fizzy. So yeah, it's been in the keg for about 3 weeks now, and it's not really clear, but I haven't really sort of made any effort to clear it at all. It's exactly just how it is. It's sort of a nice light golden colour. Pretty pleased with the colour actually. It's got a sort of slight orangey tint to it from the Cara Gold, and appearance wise I think it's looks pretty decent. It's got a sort of light frothy head to it. Yeah, so I think appearance wise not too bad. As I say, it's got a slight haze on it, but I'm not really too bothered about that at all. Right, so this was made predominantly with Olicana. It's got some Progress hops in it as well. So yeah, first time using Olicana. So what does it actually smell like? And I used 100 grams in here, so you know it's not exactly a light touch. Should be getting the full benefit of those hops in this. So let's have a little smell. What does it smell like? So it smells pretty decent actually. The description or the descriptors of those hops say that it offers tropical fruit, passion fruit, mango, what was the other ones? It says apricots, that kind of stuff. I wouldn't exactly say it's hitting the high notes for the tropical thing. There's definitely a fruity thing going on, which I've not really been able to put my finger on precisely. There's definitely a bit of citrus there, and it's kind of a bit of an apricot-y smell, but there's also sort of I would describe it as a not quite ripe fruit aroma. So imagine, I don't know, biting into a soft fruit that should be sweet and juicy, and when you bite into it, it's not ripe. You get that sort of, well, not quite ripe smell from it and taste. This is kind of what it reminds me of. Not unpleasant, but it's not kind of like in the juicy tropical aroma spectrum, you know, like the New World and the American hops. But it's definitely something different from what you'd expect from an English or British hop. So malt wise, smells pretty decent actually. It's a nice sort of malty background to it, bit of sweetness. But really, this was designed to let the hops shine. There's a bit of yeast character coming from the Nottingham as well. Overall, pretty pleasant, but there is that kind of overriding sort of not quite ripe fruit smell, which is pretty predominant in it. Anyway, let's give it a taste. So, again, get the sweetness from those malts. Really nice malt actually. I'm pretty happy with the actual the malt bill on this and how it actually turned out. So I think I'm going to be using that going forward in the summer, experimenting with some other hops. Hop wise, actually the small amount of progress hops that I used in this are almost kind of punching through a little bit. So the Olicana is coming through all flashy on the dance floor, but actually the progress hops are kind of sitting quietly on the edge and yeah, coming in and throwing the moves down. And that's actually quite pleasant. It's backed up those Olicana hops quite nicely. Bitterness wise, spot on I'd say. Quite pleasant. It's a nice easy drinking ale. I'm not entirely convinced on the Olicana hops. I mean, they are citrusy, there's definitely some fruit character coming from them, but not sure I'm over keen on the sort of the underripe fruit flavour and aroma that I'm getting from it. Although it's not unpleasant, it's just, you know, I think there are better hops out there that you could use for a British golden ale. So I think in terms of the actual malt bill, I'd tick that off as a success. Would I use Olicana again? Probably not on its own, which is quite funny because I don't know if you're familiar with Malt Miller. They do a mystery hop selection, so it's like £3 or something. You can add that to your order and they send you a packet of hops that either they've stopped doing or they've just got an abundance of and they want to clear them out. So I added a packet of that to my last order. I was making an American Pale Ale. Guess what turns up? A packet of Olicana. So yeah, maybe it's written in the stars this year. So yeah, it's all right. That's all I can say about it really. If I do it again, which I'll definitely be using this grain bill again and doing a British golden ale, because actually I really like this style and I think it's got a lot of potential for the summer. I think I'll probably swap the yeast. Nottingham's given it quite a character, a specific character. You definitely tell this is a British beer without a doubt. It's got that kind of yeasty, you know, those esters that you get from Nottingham. So I might tone that down a little bit. Maybe I might try it with, you know, SO5, something like that, and experiment with some hops. So I don't know, maybe try adding some Cascade or something like that into it, just spice it up a little bit. But yeah, it's not too bad. If you fancy giving British Golden Ales a try, I'd definitely recommend it. Maybe just not with Olicana, but you know, that might be your thing, so don't let me influence you in any way. But that's it for now. Anyway, cheers.